Tom Petty, Change of Heart at number 23. Up from number 30 on my fantasy playlist, March 18th, 1983. How you doing, Mr. DJ? Back countdown fantasy playlist, 1983, 35 years ago. I love the way this song starts, Change of Heart. This is classic. That guitar intro is just absolutely precious. It's off to the races. It just brings you in. You ready to rock and roll? Well, here it is, buddy. Come on and join the ride. One thing that occurred to me just before I made this video, listen to this song, Change of Heart, the beginning intro by Tom Petty, and listen to the similarity with the guitar intro of Sick of Myself by Matthew Sweet, which came out in 1995. And Matthew Sweet had that classical rock influence in his music. And I think he might have borrowed a little bit from Tom Petty on that record. Tom Petty, a classic act. I mean, here's the thing about Tom Petty. He understands the sock hop years of the 50s and early 60s. He understands the golden years of the 60s. Here's some of that influence in his music. Hints of the garage bands in the 60s on this record, Change of Heart. Tom Petty met the king. He met Elvis. He sure did. Boy, that was something else. That was a hoot and a half. His uncle, now this was in the summer of 1961. Tom Petty was about 10 years old at the time. His uncle worked on the set of Elvis's movie called Follow That Dream. Follow That Dream was a musical that came out, Elvis musical that came out, well, a musical featuring Elvis that came out in 1962. And he invited, now Tom Petty's from Gainesville, and much of that film, Follow That Dream, was filmed in Florida. And they were doing a shoot in Ocala, nearby Ocala. I believe that's how you pronounce it, Ocala, Ocala, Florida. His uncle said, come on down, Tom, and watch the shoot, man. You might meet the king. And he sure did. He met Elvis. And he said that Elvis glowed. Of course, this was Elvis in his prime, 1961. Elvis about 26 years old at the time. Early movie Elvis. 1961. Just got out of the Army in 1960. Had that huge hit, enormous hit, right after he got out of the Army. Stuck on You, number 1 in 1960. Had to throw that in. Elvis. Tom Petty was so taken meeting Elvis. When he came back home to Gainesville, Florida, he came up to his friend. He was greeted by his friend. His friend was named, I forgot his name, Keith Arbin. Keith Arbin. Tom Petty said to Keith Arbin, I'll trade you my Wham-O slingshot for your stack of Elvis's 45s. He got himself a deal. Boy, he sure did a Donald Trump right there, buddy. He got himself a stack of 45s. Very good deal for Tom Petty. And probably wasn't until 1964 when he saw the Beatles and Ed Sullivan that he decided, hey, I'm going to do this. I want to do this rock and roll thing. Guitar player. Tom Petty did something that was real cool. This is really great. 1981, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, they released their 4th album called Hard Promises. And the record company, MCA, wanted to jack the price up. Instead, most of the albums in 1981, a lot of the albums sold for $8.98. And that was pretty pricey back then, believe me. Minimum wage was about $3.35 at the time. And Tom Petty said they wanted to raise the price to $9.98, $1. Tom Petty said, you're not going to do that. I'm not having that. Don't be jacking up that price on me. He told MCA, Tom Petty said, if you raise the price to $9.98 on my new album, I'm going to call the album $8.98. And the record company backed off. MCA backed off. Well, anyway, let's go back to this record. Tom Petty, Change of Heart at number 23. You Got Lucky was the first hit off the album. that came out. It was late 1982, fall of '82, and Long After Dark was the name of the album. Change of Heart was the second single. And it's up to number 23 on my fantasy playlist, March 18th, 1983.